if I don't forgive him, then you're not going to forgive me, because I need grace each and every day.
Mhm.
I may do some things. I may not have said anything or sinned or something, but I may have thought of some things that I may need forgiveness for. We have to be careful with holding on with certain things, being angry and bitter for a long period of time.
Welcome to this edition of Talk with TAS. I'm your host, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and today I have with me Melanie D. Phillips. She's a two-time best-selling author, a publisher, an accomplished ghostwriter, and a sought-after speaker. She's the founder of Strengthening the Bond, an organization that creates safe spaces for mothers and daughters to connect, heal, and celebrate each other. She's known as she's known as the life shift coach. Life
Yeah.
shift coach. She specializes in guiding people through complexities of divorce, life's transitions, and using her transformative 8F's framework, which is faith, forgiveness, fear, finance, fitness, family, friends, and the future.
Yeah.
Through her coaching, storytelling, and her leadership, Melanie has empowered countless individuals to rebuild their lives with clarity, purpose, and strength. So if you've been looking for practical tools, inspiration, or ways to heal and grow, this conversation is going to be packed with value for you. So you're in the right place at the right time. Melanie, thank you so much again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Teresa. It is such a pleasure. Yes.
Well, I wanted to kind of give a little backstory for folks. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for your organization?
The inspiration for Strengthen the Bond, actually, I was in the midst of going through a divorce. And one particular day, my daughter came over to pray for myself and my son. And at that particular time, I heard the Holy Spirit said that you and your daughter's bond was being strengthened. Now, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know. I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know what this means. So during the process of the divorce, the Holy Spirit came back to me again and said that it's time for you to form this organization. And the organization is to bring mothers and daughters together. And what I will call it is Strengthen the Bond. So that's how that name came about. So it's an organization where I bring mothers and daughters together to connect. I use certain tools. I would say I use tools and outlets so that they can connect, so that they can heal, so that they can celebrate each other while strengthening their bond and communicate as well. So, yes.
Well, I think that is a wonderful platform because I think about you just happen to be going through a divorce, but there's so many reasons that keep mothers and daughters from connecting
Absolutely.
or their bond being solid. So to have an organization that's focused on strengthening those bonds and celebrating the connection, I think is so needed at this point. And, I have a mother and I'm very grateful that my mom is still with me. But sometimes relationships can be challenging when you talk about mother and daughter relationships. So, what types of challenges have you encountered helping mothers and daughters to strengthen their bond?
I have encountered all kinds of different relationships where mothers and daughters are estranged from each other, where mothers and daughters, they may have a relationship, but it may not be a healthy relationship. Some mothers and daughters, the mother may have been, and in some kind of substance abuse program or something like that, or either the daughter. It's not just all the way with the mother, because the daughter can have these things going on as well. So, it just depends. It's several different issues that they may go through. Some of them are, especially with teens. Now, I was talking about with, more mature mothers and everything, but with teens, you may be dealing with a rebellious teen. You may be dealing with a daughter that has dealt with generational things, that is, like, the mother may have gone through something, we talking about rape or molestation or drug abuse. Then that mother's mother, the grandmother, may have gone through something, and then it trickles. It's a trickle down effect where the daughter may be going through the same thing. I had one mother where the mother was in an affair and had this child out of the affair. And that was a huge issue, because the child did not spend the only time the child got a chance to spend time with her father was on holidays. And it's so many different issues. So try to bring them back together so that they can have a relationship, some type of relationship, using the tools that I have put in place so that they can have a relationship. Because they're not always going to have a great relationship, but we want them to have a relationship where they can respect each other at least. I always say my motto is, we are not each other, but we are each other's keeper. So, yes.
I like that. We are not each other, but we are each other's keeper. Now, you mentioned several potential challenges from substance abuse. I talk very publicly about the fact that I was sexually abused as a child. Yes, I'm an incest survivor. You talked about rebellious teens. So I want you to select one of those and then help the audience to see how you would use your tools to then help the mother and that daughter improve their
Um,
relationship.
all right. I will start with the mother dealing with was in an adulterous affair, in an affair, and the daughter not having the capabilities to see her father anytime that she got ready. Well, what we did was had the coach the mother and the daughter, because at one time the daughter did not want to have anything to do with the mother at all. She was mad at the mom and she
Mhm,
was mad at the dad. So we at least was able to bring them together to start the conversation. The daughter asked the mother, why did you do this?
mhm,
And the mother responded. Of course, the mother responded, but the mother went to say she felt like that person was the only person that saw her, and she didn't know that it was going to last that long, and she didn't know that she was going to end up getting pregnant. So certain situations, begot certain different circumstances. The daughter was then still upset because the wife of the father did not know that he had a daughter. So it was just a huge mess. But what happened was, the mother did reach out to the father, and the father eventually had to tell his wife what happened. Now, at that point, we talked and we was able to at least get the mother and the daughter together. We was able, they had several different coaching sessions. They were able to talk about the situation with the dad. The dad was able to, he did not want to, but he eventually, because if he didn't do it, then the daughter was going to do it. So
yeah.
the father eventually reached out to, told his wife what happened. The wife was surely upset, as she had all right to be.
Mhm,
And now, I don't know their relationship, the daughter with his wife. I don't know their relationship but what I do know that the relationship with the mother and the daughter is being mended. They are having healthy conversations about what,
Mhm.
and because of that, oh, I did tell you this part. That mother, her mother, was an adulterous affair as well. So it was something that she saw,
Mhm.
something that she did, she mimicked.
Mhm.
So that daughter was like, I can't, if I have any children, I would not be in a situation like this. I'm not going to do this. So,
Mhm.
yes.
You know, thank you, Geneva MZ Diva, for joining us, and thank you, Zan Russell, for joining us also. I think that example is so telling on so many levels. I need just a little bit of clarity. So the daughter, at the time that you were working with her and her mother, what age was she?
She was grown. She was about 25 years old.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So she had come to, and let me ask this question to make sure I'm still on the right path with my question. Her
Yes.
mother was married. Was her mother married when
So
she,
her mother was not
her,
married. Her,
so the gentleman was married.
yes.
Now, let me ask this question.
Mhm.
When the grandmother had an adulterous affair, was she married
No,
at that time?
no.
So the pattern is these single women, the
Single,
grandmother, the mother, are have had affairs with married
married
men,
men,
married men, and children
produced children.
have been born out of these affairs.
Yes.
And we talk about generational curses, and this, well, curses are trauma, depending upon what language you want to use. But we see how the sins, because we're
Ab-
talking generational thing, are visited on the next generation. And
Yes.
then I applaud this young lady who was advocating for herself, and then through all this process was able to see how this has been passed on from generation to generation. And as she said, she does not want to carry that on. And I think that is so important, Melanie, because when I think about where we are as far as generation, she's 25. It's a totally different generation. And
Yes.
she understands the pain, and she's living in a different time where she's going to advocate for her pain to be addressed.
Yes.
And
And
because of
her
that,
pain was, yes, her pain was being addressed. But here's the thing. Just think if she had a child and her child wanted to get to know her grandfather, or the child wanted to get to know, her great grandfather, and tell your child that you were born out of an affair, you don't have a relationship with your father. What do you tell your child about your mother, your
Mhm,
grandmother, that your mother,
mhm,
your grandmother had
mhm,
an affair? So it's a cycle that's constantly repeating itself.
mhm,
So for her to say this would no longer go, it would stop right here with me. I applauded her for that because it had to stop,
mhm,
because she was not at peace with that at all. And she needed for myself to help her bring her mom to, so that her and her mom could have the conversation.
mhm. Because they really needed to reconcile.
Yes.
And I don't, the 25-year-old and her mom, and I don't know if her mom and her grandmother ever reconciled what happened with them. But then when you say that the young lady's mom said why she felt seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is such an interesting statement. Hi, Pops Laura, thank you for joining us. Hi, Jesus Blackman 23, thanks for joining me. Hi, Everett 1173, thanks for joining me. Um, I think that is such a telling
Mm-hmm.
thing that she said that she felt seen.
Mm-hmm.
And and I remember when we were probably children, because we probably around the same age,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how do I want to say this? Well, let me say it a different way. I've always said that people will do things because of the desire they're trying to fill a need. And
Yes.
negative need feeling, I'm going to use the word I would normally should say, negative attention is still
Yes.
attention.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've got a need that needs to be filled, it doesn't matter that it's not positive. And this time I'm defining positive as I'm in a relationship with someone who is in a committed marital relationship. She felt seen, not
Yes.
understood. And
She
then
felt
she's mama
seen,
said,
felt needed.
"Need."
Um, she thought that, I don't know why she wasn't with anyone single. I don't know that situation. Maybe she had been with someone single. Maybe that person didn't treat her the best. I
Mhm.
have no idea. But with the married man, oh, he was treating her just wonderful, treating her great because he could go home to his wife at night while she was there, actually by herself, but he was still giving her everything that she needed, giving her what she wanted, giving her the money to take care of herself. So, and some people minds, you got that mentality that I always say, people are physically in prison, but some people are mentally in prison as well. So you're dealing
Mhm.
with mentally imprisoned people that just because that you're someone is taking care of your every need, whether they're with you on a full-time basis or not, it's okay. This is for
Mhm.
some people. They think it's okay. Well, at least he's with me. He's doing this for me and he's doing that. He's taking care of me. And what you don't realize when you bring a child into the situation, because you are a hurt individual,
Mhm.
and then you
Mhm.
hurt the next person, you will hurt your child as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Hi, Donna. Thank you for joining us. And hi, Eugene. Right. Thank you for joining us. And you're so right with that, Melanie, because I think about situations of abuse
Yes.
and people are going to leave the environment or they contemplate leaving, but the person, and it could be male or female
Mm-hmm.
or trans, the person is taking care of all of the needs. So they opt to stay in that relationship, that toxic environment. Well, it's one thing when you make that decision for yourself. It's
Yes.
another thing when you make a decision like that that then impacts the
Yes.
children
Yes.
who are
Yes.
being raised in that
Yes.
environment. Because what are we teaching the children? They're always watching and they're always listening. What are we modeling for
And
them? Because
then,
basically that's what was happening with this
yes.
family.
And then for some, the parent or the child, depends on who it is, have the audacity to say, you do as I say, not as I do. How can you tell someone to do as I say and not as I do when the child is constantly watching the parent? And this is,
Well, you know, I'm, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, this is all the child sees, so this is all the child knows. So you have no concern for that child. That child eventually is going to grow up. That child going to want to know why my dad only comes around on holidays. Who is he going home to? Where is he going every day when he leaves me or whatever? And people just don't think about that. And then you get upset because you have a ton of questions that's being asked of you.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
don't know how to respond. Well, I could respond with the truth, but I'm not going to respond with the truth because then that means I've got to be accountable for making a decision that's now hurting someone else, whether I thought it would or whether it was going to be intentional hurt or not. The bottom line is because of what I did, now my child is being hurt. And then the thing about, he had to tell his wife
Yeah.
after all this time because this young lady was going to let her know that this
And
is her
that's
father.
the thing. I don't even think the mother was going to even have that conversation or even talk to the father at all until the daughter said that if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to, and see, with good old Mr. Google and the internet and all of that, you
Yeah.
can find anybody. an address is nothing to, you
Mhm.
can find a address in a matter of seconds. So
Mhm. Mhm.
she already knew where he lived. So her next step was to pay him a visit. So he had to respond. When that mother reached out to him, he had to respond to her.
But Melanie, because I know we're talking about mother-daughter relationships, but this, when we can heal one relationship, particularly this type of relationship that we're talking about, then there's going to be a trickle effect for the father. So did the mother, because I don't know her backstory, did the mother of the 25-year-old think that her daughter was never going to want to actually see her father as an adult? Because I'm no longer a child. You know what I mean? When I say, oh, he only comes at, oh, he might pop over at Christmas for a minute. He might pop over for my birthday. He might pop over and bring something when school is getting ready to start. So I'm used to him popping in and popping out. Did she not think that as the child got older, that she would want to see her father and was going to question why she did not see her father? Or it just never crossed her mind?
Now, it could have crossed her mind, but did she say something about it? No. And it may not have crossed her mind, but I'm sure the mother had to have thought about what her actions would be, how it would affect her daughters. I'm sure she had to have thought about that, because she should have thought about the way how her mother
Mm.
actions affected her.
Yeah. But this is so interesting, Melanie, though, because that's what I would think with my sane mind.
Yes.
Okay.
But you know
But if
what?
I,
As they say, common sense is not so common anymore.
well, no, and also remember, if I'm in my sane mind at that moment and my mind's not cloudy and I'm able to be in touch with my own feelings,
Mhm.
then I'm going to remember them, then I should realize my daughter is going to want to know who her father is. And as she gets older,
Mhm.
she's going to demand to know who her father is.
Mhm.
But I always call it that brainwashing. We do it for many reasons. We
Mhm.
do it in many different situations. And this would be another situation where I have just brainwashed myself. I'm living my life, forgot how it felt for me.
Mhm.
Now I have done the same thing that happened to me. I've done it to my daughter, but I'm a good mama. I'm da 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 da. But I'm forgetting that emotional component
Mhm.
of what is happening. See, my daughter is headstrong. That's how I'm gonna describe this young lady. She headstrong. She's a
Mhm.
strong
Yeah.
woman. I should know this headstrong young lady is not gonna let that go. And it's so interesting to me that only when she was threatening to reach out to
Yes.
his family, that mama was like, let me call this man. So,
Yes.
but then that makes me think maybe there was no reconciliation between
Yeah.
her and her father. So therefore, she thought everything would just keep going in that same way. And before we're going to get off this, but I also want to say this, Melanie, this is so sad.
It's very,
It's so sad to me that we get into such a state emotionally that we don't want to take accountability for what we've done.
mhm.
And then we hurt other people.
It's the lies we tell ourselves, that the lies that we hide behind. Um, you know, as my mom used to say, you can tell a lie for so long until you, as you said, you can start to believe it yourself.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me, and then we can get off, it reminds me of when I was working in the medical field, and it was two of the tech. I was the registered cardiovascular technologist, and one of the techs used to wear this sweater all the time. So the other tech asked her, "Can I borrow your sweater?" So she said yes. So the one that borrowed the sweater wore that sweater for about a year or so. So when the other tech asked her, "Hey, can I get my sweater back?" She said, "What sweater, girl? This is my sweater." So you, in your mind, in your warped mind, you you're thinking something that belongs to you that is never yours. So you totally forgot that what you have done was that you had borrowed something of someone else's and have not
Mhm.
earned it. So you're just living this life. I'm trying to dress it up as best as I can, where you're just living this and thinking, oh, this is mine, or either I don't even have to deal with this, because if I wear it for so long, if I keep it for so long,
You go
she'll
forget
forget
it.
about
You forget it.
it.
Mhm.
Forget about it.
And the thing is, we don't forget. When people have been injured, they don't forget. Now, there may be times that it's buried, but it will rear its ugly head at the oddest times because I haven't forgotten it. I used to, when I was much younger, much, much, much younger, I used to talk about the trauma. I put it in a box and it
Mm-hmm.
had a nice bow on it, and it's on the shelf. And it's still in a box on the shelf,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean that sometimes that box don't tumble off the shelf and the lid comes open and I have to pick it up, put what's in that box back in there and put it back up because it does visit me and I never know when the box is going to tumble off the shelf. So to think, and I love that example, to think that I'm going to let you wear my sweater and you're just going to keep it for a whole year. And
Yeah.
I'm just oblivious to the fact that you got my sweater. Like I'm oblivious to the pain that I'm causing someone else. I'm oblivious to the pain that I felt when I was in that situation. Hmm. Like, like I said, that
And
sometimes
and
it's
yeah, and this is when I bring in the components of my 8Fs, because
yes.
we deal with forgiveness and we have to deal with family and we got to deal with how can we go on with our future together.
Mhm.
And we have to deal with the point of the finance, because when I say finance, it comes to mother-daughter situations, they may need counseling.
Mhm.
They may need counseling. It can even go beyond that. When you're talking about finance and you're talking about someone that's dealing with trauma, where can trauma get you? Trauma can have you out here eating constantly or shopping constantly, buying stuff that you
Mhm.
really don't have money to purchase. You're
Mhm.
using your credit cards, continuing to purchase and purchase and purchase. Every time you feel a need, you're just buying on impulse.
Mhm.
So we need to talk about these things, how it not only affect you, but it affects the way you live as well.
Mhm. Absolutely, because I was going to ask you about the your 8Fs framework
Yeah.
and use it for this particular
Yeah.
situation, since this is the one that it seems to have piqued our everybody's interest. And Geneva said, "You're speaking truth here," And we talk about, oh, I need retail therapy.
Yes.
Now, I've never said the retail therapy, but I've always thought it was interesting, And I'm like, retail therapy, but you're right. We're still trying to fill a need there. And it could be
Absolutely.
food, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be prescription drugs, illegal drugs. It could be sex,
Yes.
people.
Absolutely. That's a real need.
Yeah.
I've seen people to uh, have those sexual desires. That's a need that people, run to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think though when we talk about the framework, the faith, the forgiveness, the fear, the finance, and that fitness, and fitness is I'm looking at that from a holistic, emotional, psychological, physical, um, intellectual.
Rich. Yeah.
It's everything,
Every,
and then that family, friends, and then knowing that there is a future beyond where we started. For using this example or another, help me to understand how you would apply the 8Fs to help the mother and daughter work through whatever their specific issue is. Oh, Michelle, I don't hear you. Yep.
they cut off.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. My phone was ringing. First, we have to deal with, I should have put my do not disturb sign on. I'm so sorry.
That's
But
okay.
first, we have to deal with forgiveness. And when I say forgiveness, you have to learn how to forgive yourself first. You have to have
Mhm.
peace that will surpass all of your understanding.
Mhm.
You need strength, for you to be able to move forward. You have to learn how to forgive yourself, and then you can you can start with working on forgiving.
Oh, you silent again, Michelle. You must have had another phone call come through. Okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Uh-huh.
Okay. You have to start forgiving. You have to forgive yourself first, because you're mad at yourself. You're mad at yourself, wondering, why does my dad not come over to visit me like he should? Is it me?
Mm-hmm.
That do you not care about me that much? You only want to see me on the holidays? Is it that you just don't care? You care more about your other family than you do me? So it's a lot of things that's playing in her mind. And then you're talking about forgiving yourself. Like, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. This is something that is bigger and larger than you. So therefore, you have to go to the source. So now you have to learn how to forgive your mother. And then
Yes,
the mother you have to have that conversation to even go back as far as forgiving your grandmother, because this is learned behavior.
it is.
It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
learned behavior. So it's a lot of things that, where forgiveness plays a huge part in everything that you do. So once you start working on that, chipping away with forgiving yourself, chipping away with forgiving your mother, your father, your grandmother, then you can start working on other things. Because I know when I was in the midst of going through my divorce, the Holy Spirit told me, if you do not forgive others of their trespasses, then I won't forgive you of your trespasses.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's another whole component right there. That's biblical. So,
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
you are mad and upset where you're not, and now here's the thing, I get it. How can we move forward? You may not even know how to forgive. That's another thing. How do we start the process to learn how to forgive?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness, then this is when you go to this is when you have that conversation, and also couple your coaching and your with the Bible, with God, going to God. Because forgiving can be, for me, forgiving was, I had to be able to pray for my ex-husband.
Yes.
And so God told me, this is how you're going to start the forgiving process. I need for you to start praying for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if something happened, I was like, God, I can't do that. I'm done with but I thought about it. So if I don't forgive him, then you're not going to forgive me, because I need grace each and every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every day I need grace. I may do some things. I may not have said anything or sinned or something, but I may have thought of some things that I may need forgiveness for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful with, holding on with certain things, being angry and bitter for a long period of time, because you can eat away at yourself. And again, it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to those finances again, because if you're bitter for a long period of time, if that is eating away with your forgiveness, what does that big giant thing, what does it's like the parent to sickness. Because once you don't forgive, then you start to
Mm-hmm.
be stressed out. Not only do you need to see somebody for retail therapy, as you say, you need to see
Yes.
someone for high blood pressure,
Yes.
someone, because you're dealing with all kinds of situation, migraines that can come from this. You need to, I mean, when you are stressed, it can break your body
Oh,
down.
Oh, absolutely. Hmm.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. So I have to deal with each and every. Now I love what I do.
Hmm.
When I see a mother and a daughter come together, when I see that the communication can start, man, I'm just like, thank you, Jesus, because it is not me. Thank you for using me as the vessel.
Yes, Lord. Hmm.
So,
These are, I'm sorry, go right here. I'm sorry, Melanie.
oh no, I'm
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. Rocky 109, thank you for joining us. And I was just going to say that these are some tough situations that you're helping people to work through. And when you share the story of the young lady and the three generations, well, two generations,
Hmm.
the three generations, as in it's been visited on that third generation, the power of their
Yes.
story. How do you help? The story is so powerful for healing
Hmm.
and empowerment. Why do you think that it's important for individuals to get to a place where they can share their stories and then be able to help other people?
Well, and that is the key, helping those that's in need as well. Your story becomes your testimony, where your testimony can help start the healing for other people as well. If I'm in this situation and I'm listening to you talk, it may spark something. I might say, you know
Mhm.
what, this is my story. This is my story, and I need to have this conversation with my mom. I need to bring me and my mother need to come back and listen to this podcast,
Yes.
to this, so that we can have this hard conversation. Me and my grandmother need to have this conversation. And if we can't have the conversation, let me write her a letter. Let me
Hmm.
start to write her a letter or something so we can start talking, because since you won't hear me, and maybe you will read what I have to say. You will see me, someone will. Because we need to have the conversation. So it is something that needs to happen, because like for me, I tell you, when I was going through my divorce, I didn't know anybody else was going through a divorce until I was going through one. I'm
Yeah.
like, I said, what? All these people are going through a divorce. I didn't. I didn't see any of that. Now I knew people went through a divorce, but it was not until it hit you at your back door, knocked on your back door, until you said I said, "Oh wow!" And then for me, I was embarrassed. I'm like, I'm not telling nobody about anything. But then God said, "Yes, you will."
Mhm. And he used
Mm-hmm.
you and is still using you, Melanie, to help other individuals.
Yes, to
Melanie, you
all these
know,
babies.
sorry, say that. Say that again.
To birth all these babies, all these different things that I'm doing. Yes.
Absolutely. Because you also provide coaching services. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, I do. I can, and for my coaching, I coach mothers and daughters. I coach individuals, mothers or daughters, and I coach them on a group level as well. I also coach people that's making the transition through divorce. Uh, how I got through it using the 8Fs. Using the 8Fs, this is how I was able to bring them into the fold when it came to helping others. Because these are the things that I use.
Mhm.
So yes, and then also going talking to different organizations in regards. Those 8Fs may be different, but some of them are the same. We're talking about strategies. We're talking about focus. We're talking about finance, the
Mhm.
company's finance. We're also talking about what affects you at your organization, how it affects your family back at home.
Yeah.
Because if you are downsized, if something happens there on the job, or then it can affect your home life as well.
Mhm.
If something happens at home, it can affect you at work.
Absolutely. Mhm. And that's the reason why I like that. I'm going to call your 8Fs like a wraparound. I like that because it does. Hi, Eddie. Thank you for joining us. It does um, look at the whole person, that whole relationship,
Mhm.
in order to make sure that they have that solid footing given whatever is transpiring.
Yes.
And sometimes, as you said, we're going through things and we don't realize other people are going through the exact same thing. The exact
Yeah.
same thing. So, Melanie, how can the audience stay in touch with you? How can they reach out to you if they want to learn more about your services?
Listen, it's real simple. You can go to my website, hey, strengthenthebond.com, or to make it really simple, melaniedphillips.com. And under melaniedphillips.com, then you will see the different tabs where you can click on Strengthen the Bond. You would see my ghostwriting. I ghostwrite for a plethora of people. I have done CEOs of, and everyone else I ghostwrite for, and that I love.
So, any aspiring writers that just don't have the time,
Yeah.
we got a ghostwriter here now. Okay.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: I can talk about one book that I've written because she wants people to know that I wrote it for her. And actually, it will be coming out February the 22nd. And if you are linked to me on Instagram, Strengthen the Bond on Instagram, or Facebook, Melanie Richardson Phillips. And here's the thing with Facebook: because my Facebook page was hacked a year ago, if in order for people to continue to reach me, I took the hyphen out between my maiden name and my last name, and so that people can still be able to reach me. Some of them still have not reached me. I lost so many followers, but it's okay because God got whatever. God has so much more in store, so I can't even worry about the
Yes.
past. But I said this young lady that I just written her book, and it will come out February the 22nd. It's called my 16-year crack cocaine addiction.
Mm.
And these are the things that she's been going through. She's dealt with so many things when it came to her being a crack user.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother-daughter situations, one
Mm-hmm.
of those.
Mm-hmm.
She was dealing with her being having low self-esteem, low self-worth, not respecting herself, actually, and allowing others not to respect her as well. So these are some of the things that we talked about in her book, and it's a really good book. And this, I don't even want to give everything away, but the sad thing is, which ended up being a great thing. One of the sad things is because of the drug use and all of this, she was in a terrible accident. But within that, she is able to get clean, speak to people. She's been clean now for 11 years. I thought, okay, she's been clean for 11 years and she's doing great. So now I'm saying, I told her, I said, now I got to get you to where you are out talking and speaking and helping other women, helping helping mothers, helping men, because men go through things as well. We can't
Absolutely.
leave the men. They
Mm-mm.
are important too. Um, you know, just helping those who need the help.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, since we've been talking about, welcome, Leandra, 6624. Since we've been talking about mothers, I have to do my own plug and say that my new book will be released on February the 9th, and excuse me, February the 11th, and it's called Transformation: How Mama's Wisdom Unlocks Secrets to Success. And I share real mama sayings. And I call the book Mama Said. I share real mama sayings, but I've used stories that I have developed to illustrate the lessons that I believe my grandmother was trying to convey.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say this to you, Melanie, because I think I've said this to my mother. I don't know if I've said it live. You talk about generations.
Mhm.
My mother's mother died about, I'm going to say about a month to 3 weeks before my mother graduated from high school.
Mhm.
When I was a little girl, I thought something was going to happen around that time for me. And so and I told my mother, because I've always been a dreamer. So I'm like, yeah, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Well, one thing that happened was I broke my mother's stand mixer because I dropped it. But my mother was pregnant at my high school graduation with my sister. But the fear, that's the point that I want to make that connection because my mother lost her mother before she graduated from high school. I just knew something was going to happen to my mom and that
Mhm.
I would lose my mom. And that
Yeah.
speaks back to what we're talking about, how generational things continue to happen. I was
Yes.
blessed. I still have my mother with me, but I still remember that fear that
Yeah.
something bad was going to happen and I wasn't going to have my mama. So again, my new book is coming out. I refer to the book as Mama Said because my mother says her mama said, so we call the book Mama Said. And it will be released on February the 11th. So guys, pick it up. It's I call it a mixture between Real Housewives of Somewhere um, and a little Southern flavor
Okay.
with it. Because
Revelation.
I wanted to make it very real to people, and I didn't give all the sayings this time, so there'll be another book. But I tried to clean it up some, but I think you'll find some of the stories very interesting that I crafted for Mama Said. So it's
Okay.
available on February the 9th, so make sure you pick it up.
Yes.
Melanie, I
And
have
I
enjoyed our time together.
since Geneva is online, I just thought about it's not a new book. This book is about 2 years old and daughters. It's called "And Your God Shall Be My God."
Mhm.
Where mothers and daughters, it's a book about a collection of poems and prayers of different situations that mothers and daughters have gone through. The daughter may have written about her drug abuse. The mom may have, and it be in poetic style, or it may be in a prayer. And then the mother came back and responded in maybe a prayer or in poetic form. So it's a
Mhm.
book of prayers and poems, but I'm the visionary of this anthology. So I brought mothers and daughters together, and we have the one they call the prayer closet, where I also wrote that, where I thought the different things that mothers may have gone through, as well. We have some that's anonymous in there that talked about certain things, but yeah, so it's "And Your God Shall Be My God" by Melanie D. Phillips, and that's actually on my website as on Amazon as well. Yes,
And so they can pick up these books on your website and on Amazon, correct, Melanie?
absolutely, yes.
All right, then. Well, Melanie, again, thank you so much for joining me, and thank everyone else for joining us. It has been a very enlightening session, and I do appreciate you sharing your wisdom. And guys, until next time, remember before you go trying to take care of somebody else, make sure you take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye bye.